Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Turn on the notification bell so you never miss our most thrilling new videos.
In the vast plains of KwaZulu-Natal, where red earth breathes beneath the ancient sun, a child is born under a sky heavy with omens. His birth is not celebrated. It is whispered, hidden, almost denied. Shaka, son of Senzangakona, carries from his first breath the weight of rejection. Around him, nature watches in silence, as if the ancestors themselves are withholding judgment. His mother, Nandi, walks bent under humiliation. Cast out and despised, she wanders from village to village, holding her child like a fragile treasure in a hostile world. Eyes are cold, hearts are closed. Each step on the burning dust is a trial, each night a battle against hunger and cold. Yet in the child's eyes, a spark endures, a force not yet shaped but already unbreakable. Night winds whisper around dying fires. Ancient spirits recognize what humans refuse to see. Pain shapes the child as fire forges iron. In the silence of exile, Shaka grows, fed by suffering, guarded by a mysterious will. Destiny has not forgotten him. It is testing him.
Exile becomes Shaka's first school. The road is long and merciless. Villages he approaches close like clenched fists. Elders turn away, children laugh, warriors despise. Nandi and her son move forward nonetheless, carried only by the need to survive. The savannah, indifferent, spreads its traps of thorns, drought, and freezing nights. Young Shaka watches the world with silent focus. He learns to read fear in eyes, weakness in gestures, strength in patience. His body hardens through endless marches. His feet bleed, but his mind sharpens. Each humiliation engraves itself into his memory like a sacred mark. At night, beneath unmoving stars, the exile listens to the unseen voices of the wind. Ancestors do not protect the weak, but they test them. In this wandering, Shaka stops being an ordinary child. He becomes a seed buried deep in the earth, waiting for the moment to break the ground. Time passes, and the child grows beneath the weight of silence. Hunger, cold, and rejection become familiar. But within Shaka, something changes. Pain no longer crushes him. It gathers, transforms, slowly ignites. An unseen fire runs through his veins, fed by every injustice endured. He watches animals, their ways of surviving, attacking, retreating. He understands that strength lies not only in muscles, but in timing. His movements grow precise, his actions economical. Even alone, he trains himself, imitating the hunt, facing the wind, fighting his own exhaustion. At night, when the sky fills with ancient stars, the ground seems to tremble beneath his steps. The ancestors, unseen yet present, test his patience. The fire within him does not yet burn in daylight. It waits, it learns, it prepares. For every fire meant to light a kingdom must first be born in shadow. Destiny finally leads Shaka toward the world of warriors. The time of solitary wandering comes to an end. In the lands ruled by the Mathetwa clan, the child of exile is accepted not out of compassion, but necessity. Here, weakness has no place. Each day is a trial, each trial a silent selection. Shaka's body is pushed to its limits. Marches are long, training relentless. Pain becomes a constant companion, but it does not turn him away. It teaches him. While others bend under exhaustion, he straightens. His gaze does not falter. His breath is controlled. He learns that war is not only about bravery, but endurance and order. Gradually, something shifts around him. Without words or proclamation, his presence asserts itself. Shaka's movements grow precise, almost ritualistic. Elders watch, ancestors as well. In the dust raised by training grounds, the rejected child fades away. A warrior is born, shaped by discipline, ready to be tested by true fire. With time, Shaka no longer merely obeys. He observes training battles, unnecessary losses, victories that cost too much. His mind works relentlessly. Where others repeat ancient motions, he seeks efficiency. He understands that war can be reorganized, mastered, transformed into a disciplined and relentless force. His body, forged by hardship, adapts to his ideas. Weapons become extensions of his will. Formations tighten, steps align, chaos diminishes. Every movement is designed to strike fast, hold firm, and never retreat without reason. Fear begins to change sides long before weapons clash. The ancestors seem to approve in silence. In the dust of the camps, a new breath moves through the warriors. Without proclamation, a revolution is born. Shaka does not yet command armies, but he already shapes a new way of fighting. A war shorter, harsher, and decisive. The strategist is born. After years of trials and learning, Shaka feels the call of the land that gave him birth. The path home is guided not by nostalgia, but by certainty. The one who returns is no longer the child who was cast out. His step is firm, his gaze filled with knowledge forged through pain and discipline. Familiar plains stretch before him in silence, as if the land itself recognizes its son. Memories of exile rise with the dust stirred by his march. The wounds of the past no longer bleed, but they still burn. Shaka moves forward without turning his eyes away. Where he was once rejected, he returns carrying a new force. The ancestors walk beside him, unseen, weighing every step. The wind shifts direction. Villages sense the disturbance before they understand it. Shaka's return does not announce peace, it announces a rupture. The son of humiliation returns to face his destiny. The past prepares to give way to what must be born. The time of silent trials comes to an end. The death of Senzangahona passes through the land like a shiver. The old order falters. Clans whisper, loyalties crack, and the fragile balance of power breaks apart. In this growing void, ancient patterns can no longer contain the future. Shaka watches without haste. He understands the weight of blood and the violence of change. A throne is not given, it is taken when the moment is right. Around him, forces align, drawn by his discipline and vision. The past struggles to resist, but it is already wounded. Red earth absorbs the blood of necessary conflicts. Nothing is glorified, nothing is hidden. What emerges from this transition is not merely a new reign, but a deep rupture. The blood of the king marks the end of an old world and the opening of another. Shaka steps toward this threshold, fully aware that power always demands a price. The time of silent trials comes to an end. The death of Senzangahona passes through the land like a shiver. The old order falters. Clans whisper, loyalties crack, and the fragile balance of power breaks apart. In this growing void, ancient patterns can no longer contain the future. Shaka watches without haste. He understands the weight of blood and the violence of change. A throne is not given, it is taken when the moment is right. Around him, forces align, drawn by his discipline and vision. The past struggles to resist, but it is already wounded. Red earth absorbs the blood of necessary conflicts. Nothing is glorified, nothing is hidden. What emerges from this transition is not merely a new reign, but a deep rupture. The blood of the king marks the end of an old world and the opening of another. Shaka steps toward this threshold, fully aware that power always demands a price. Under Shaka's authority, the kingdom becomes a moving force. Warriors are no longer individual fighters, but the beats of a single heart. The impis march in unison, their heavy steps striking the ground like thunder before rain. Every advance is calculated, every halt charged with tension. Discipline shapes bodies and minds. Formations move with relentless precision, like a storm gathering on the horizon. Enemies sense the tempest before they see it. Fear spreads faster than messengers, preceding the army like a shadow. The plains vibrate beneath this collective march. The land recognizes the force passing through it. The ancestors, silent, accompany the human storm crashing upon neighboring realms. Under Shaka's reign, war ceases to be a chaotic struggle. It becomes a natural phenomenon, impossible to stop. The storm reaches neighboring kingdoms. Lands fall one after another, some through resistance, others through submission. Ancient borders dissolve under the pressure of Shaka's army. Villages change masters, hills bear new symbols, and red earth remembers every victorious step. Conquest is not only military, it is mental. Peoples understand that a new force now rules the region. Those who submit survive, absorbed into strict order. Those who resist vanish, carried away by the human tempest. The empire expands not like a chaotic wave, but as a relentless structure. Shaka's name slowly separates from the man and becomes a living myth. He is no longer just a king, but a reference, a fear, an embodied law. As lands accumulate, the silence around him grows heavier. The empire expands, and with it, the weight of his shadow. At the peak of the empire, silence grows heavier than the noise of battle. Shaka rules over vast lands, yet faces around him stiffen. Loyalty blends with fear. Eyes lower not out of respect, but necessity. Absolute power isolates more surely than exile ever did. Victories continue, but they no longer bring peace. Each decision weighs like stone. The king watches his kingdom from the heights, aware that no one truly shares his burden. Elder counselors speak little. Warriors obey without question. Order is complete, but human warmth has withdrawn. The ancestors whisper faintly, as if smothered by the expanding shadow of power. Shaka understands that to rule is to walk alone on a narrow ridge. Behind him, exile. Before him, the abyss. Between them, a throne forged from victories and solitude. The death of Nandi, his mother, strikes Shaka like lightning in the night. The king, accustomed to commanding land and enemies, faces a pain no order, no discipline can contain. Mourning transforms the lion into an inner storm. His eyes, once calm, flash like lightning, and his shadow spreads across the kingdom in a new way, heavier, darker. The warriors sense the change without understanding. Fear takes invisible forms, twisting the breath of the plains. The ancestors watch silently, witnessing this trial. Shaka's power now feeds on loss and contained rage. Every future decision will be marked by this absence. In the night wind, Nandi's name still resonates, a voice that guides and condemns. Shaka learns that pain can become law, that loss can transform a king, and even a mother's shadow can dominate an empire. After mourning, the kingdom holds its breath. Every village, hill, and path now knows the presence of the king and the power of his silent anger. Fear becomes law. Warriors move like disciplined shadows, and the people watch without daring to speak. Shaka's authority manifests in every fleeing glance, in every stifled whisper. Even the land itself seems to respond to his will. The ancestors, witnesses to this transformation, silently observe the power a single man can impose. The king's fire is no longer just that of battles, but the one that burns in the hearts of his subjects. Sacred fear ensures order and strengthens his rule. Thus arises a reign where silence speaks louder than the clamor of arms. In this heavy atmosphere, every breath, every movement, every gaze is measured. Shaka is no longer just a king. He becomes the embodiment of a force that no one dares challenge. In the shadows of palaces and camps, jealousy grows. Shaka's brothers and rivals watch, calculate, whisper without sound. Every smile hides a plan, every greeting masks an intention. Absolute power attracts both greed and hatred with the same intensity as respect. Shaka, despite his vigilance, feels the weight of this invisible threat. Plots are not measured on the battlefield, but in silences, averted gazes, secret alliances. The kingdom now lives under tension, even in routine. Ancestors watch, but cannot always guide men. Intuition becomes a weapon. The storm raging outside the kingdom echoes within. The king, aware of every breath, prepares his strategies, evaluates every man like a piece on a chessboard. Human fragility becomes tangible, and danger approaches silently. Even the most powerful king cannot escape the tricks of blood. Brothers and rivals, fed by jealousy and fear, act in silence. Betrayal, invisible yet relentless, sets in. Strikes come where Shaka does not expect them. Alliances break in the shadows, and the king realizes that his strength alone cannot protect his throne. The shadow of treachery spreads across the kingdom. Warriors sense instability but remain loyal out of habit or fear. Shaka, despite his vigilance and strategy, experiences absolute isolation for the first time. The ancestors, silent, seem to watch without intervening. The lion falters, not from weakness, but from the complexity of human forces surrounding him. In this inner chaos, Shaka understands that power is never permanent. Every reign is a fragile balance between fear, respect, and loyalty. The fall, when it comes, is never sudden, but the result of long accumulated shadows. After the fall, Shaka retreats into the wildlands. There, far from palaces and plots, the wounded king rediscovers the solitude that forged him as a child. Every step in the red dust awakens ancient strength, unwavering will. Pain becomes a lesson, solitude a school. The wounded lion learns to heal and transform. Nature becomes his ally. Winds carry his meditations, rivers reflect his thoughts, and ancient trees seem to whisper forgotten strategies. Every scar, every breath, every moment of silence strengthens the man and the king. The shadow of betrayal recedes, replaced by the clarity of a meticulous plan. Soon, Shaka feels the fire return to his veins. The storm within him awakens once more. The wounded lion is no longer a vulnerable king. He becomes a strategist, a master of fear and respect. The rebirth is not only physical, it is spiritual and political, heralding the return of a stronger empire. Shaka returns, but this time he does not march merely to reclaim a throne. He advances to impose a new order. Villages tremble on the horizon, sensing the presence of a transformed king. His warriors, loyal and battle-hardened, follow him as a single body. Every step makes the earth vibrate, and every breath seems to herald the coming storm. Rivals who once plotted in the shadows immediately understand that the era of fear and chaos is over. Shaka is no longer a vulnerable king. He is the storm incarnate. His return is silent but absolute. No resistance can stop him. The entire kingdom becomes a theater of discipline, strength, and respect. The ancestors watch, satisfied with the transformation. The wounded lion has overcome betrayal, grief, and solitude. Now he roars again, and his roar echoes through every valley and hill, heralding a united and invincible empire. Shaka's empire reaches its peak. Lands once divided now merge under his rule. Villages respect strict law, and warriors embody flawless discipline. Every hill, river, and path becomes a silent witness to his power. Fear and admiration intertwine in the hearts of the people. Shaka never rests. He perfects the organization of his army, adjusts strategies, and teaches his commanders to think like him. The kingdom is no longer limited to battles. It is a living machine, a network of coordinated forces. The ancestors watch, their whispers still guiding decisions, invisible yet powerful. In this consolidation, the king becomes a living legend. Village songs celebrate his strength, even in silence. The lion is no longer just a king, he is a symbol. The legend of Shaka embeds itself in the red earth, in the wind that sweeps the plains, and in the hearts that know his law. Shaka steps onto the battlefield with the majesty of an ancestral lion. Every encounter becomes a methodical dance, a ritual of power and strategy. Enemies fall before the full assault begins, overwhelmed by the discipline and speed of the impis. The entire kingdom becomes an extension of his will. War is no longer merely combat, it is the expression of order and embodied strength. The plains vibrate under the synchronized steps of his warriors, and the winds carry whispers of the ancestors. Fear spreads like an invisible veil, and those who resist realize too late the legend they confront. Every victory, every calculated movement strengthens Shaka's myth. He is no longer just a king among others, but a living symbol of power, fear, and warrior wisdom. The world now knows the name of Shaka, etched into blood, earth, and wind. The battles are over, but the lion's roar continues to echo in the wind. Shaka no longer walks only on the earth. He lives in every hill, river, and breath of the Zulu plains. His empire has become a symbol, a legend that transcends life and time. Warriors and people still speak his name, not merely as a king, but as an indomitable force that shaped men and lands. The ancestors, silent yet present, watch over the legacy he leaves. The red earth now carries the memory of his reign, and every wind across the plains carries the echo of his law. Shaka is no longer just a historical figure. He is a living myth, an eternal lion whose shadow stretches far beyond the kingdom. His fire, discipline, and courage will continue to inspire generations. The king has died in time, but he reigns forever in the spirit and hearts of those who know his legend.